Hey friends, here is a Seaver theater plan. You will find this in Canvas all the way down here at the bottom, linked here in the file. So you should be able to download this Vectorworks file and open it, and it should look basically like this, hopefully, if I've done everything that I meant to do. And then what you'll want to do is take a look over here. I'll give this orientation to the drawing a bit in class so you can skip ahead, but you'll want to take a look over here and make sure you're on the scenic drafting layer as you draft your scenery for the show, okay? That, and then come over here and sort of look through the classes that are available. I would just hide a bunch of this, because hopefully you don't need too much of it. We will be working in the scenic layer. If you want to see where the line sets are, those are in the 2D floor plan section, and you can come down here and turn on just line sets label, and you'll get those position markers. And then you can additionally turn on the line sets to see where the pipes fall. So those are the only other two things that you want to know kind of where they are immediately. Otherwise, I would turn off at least the pipes themselves because they're not going to help you out. And then bring your active class all the way down into scenery, set, and make that active. So your set class should be active and your scenic layer should be active. That should get you kind of in the right ballpark starting point. Things to use to draw these pieces of scenery, right? I would start by taking a look over here in the house. In the house, you have things like walls. You have things like windows, if you scroll down, right? Windows, doors, stairs. So if any of those are part of your project, you want to use these plug-in tools. For example, if I have a wall, it's going to start out with wall style unstyled. I can choose a theater flat, which is a wall style I have provided for you, which is just a 3-inch thick wall. And then I can be like, okay, there's the wall, right? It is currently 8 feet tall, and however long it is long, 20 foot, some random number long. Let's make it 20 feet even so that I'm not a jerk to my technical director. And when I hit Shift C, that brings me into a 3D render mode. I can pull it up and see what it looks like, right? Currently that wall is 8 feet tall. Again, if I want to change the height, I can come over here into Object Info and make it 12 feet tall. Now it's a taller wall. So that's a basic wall. You could draw walls at angles. You can just trace whatever thing you want with a wall, and then it will build these flats for you. The other things that it does very efficiently automatically are doors and windows. So if I want a door, boop, when the wall highlights red, I know it's actually attaching the door to the wall. That's my first click, places the door in the wall. My second click will determine which way the swing works. Okay, so now I have a door in a wall. I can do it again. I can have another door in the wall, right? When I look at it in 3D, they just look like two doors. That's a setting you can change. But that's sort of basic door installation, right? Similarly, basic window installation. Windows, doors. Each of those have many, many settings. You can access those settings either by clicking on the object info where it says settings. It'll open up a big pop-up, and then you can change a whole bunch of these configurations. You can also use a style, so you can choose one of these existing windows and plug that in, right? Or you can be like, I want it to have this size of a lintel, and I want these size of moon-tins, and I want this many of them, and I want interior shutters, and a center light, right? All of these things are things you can customize within the plugin tool. So that's Windows. Doors, similar, right? A lot of the same kinds of things available in settings based off of leaf size, how wide is the flap of the door, how tall is the flap of the door. All of this comes in at sort of a basic standard site, and then you can change it as needed. There's that. The next thing, I'm going to use Command 5 to go back to top plan view. The next thing you might have as part of your set is a platform, right? So right now this is all sitting on the floor. If I wanted some sort of a raised elevated space, I can create that by drawing a rectangle, right? And this is the same as when we drew a rectangle before. I hit tab and I say I want it to be 8 feet. Tab again, 8 feet. Okay, now it's 8 foot square. I click, I lock that in. To give it dimension, to make it a raised platform, I use extrude, which is Command E, and then I can say I'd like it to be 2 feet tall, and now there's a 2 foot tall platform that's 8 feet by 8 feet. Okay, so that's that idea. Another thing that can be helpful, right, is not every wall is just like a rectangle with a door, right? And so one of the things that I'll do, especially if I'm sort of doing this kind of a project, which is more abstract, like bloodletting, is instead of drawing everything here, I might come over to the side of the drawing, just like out here in space. I might add a new design layer here, right? And so there are a bajillion layers, and if I right click, I can have a new one. And I might call it drafting, right? So that it's not placing things into the set, it's just for drafting stuff. And then I can do sort of the same thing you all did with your previous white model, except instead of drawing in top plan view, I will draw in front view. So when I click front, it rotates the whole world, right? So now I'm working in front view, and I can pick up my rectangle tool and I can draw things in front view, right? And so now this is a plane that's vertical, right? Ultimately, I would extrude it 3 inches in order to give it the thickness of a flat, potentially. But now, instead of drawing on the floor, I'm drawing vertically, as walls tend to be. And so that can be a good option for you in order to create vertical walls with different shapes and details, right? In order to, so since I've flown around it now, because I hit Shift C, I want to actually get back to look straight at the plane again, at the working plane again. So I can use Shift 1, which assigns the working plane, in theory. And then, yeah, that didn't work at all. Shift C, Shift 1. Oh no, it's not. It doesn't have. It's not a 3-dimensional object. It doesn't have any. It's not a 3D thing. Let's extrude it 3 inches. Now, if I use Shift 1, I can choose the working plane, right? And I can decide to look at the front of this object, right? And then when I click on this little arrow, it should point at it. I say that with such confidence, and then it doesn't work. I'm going to go back to the front view in order to work in the direction that I intend to. But basically, this will allow me to draw more stuff on that plane, right? And move it around on that plane, create, you know, a special circle thing, right? Can't do it, right? Because one of them has an extrude. Now I'm editing inside the extrude, which means that I am working with the 2D objects, and I can now clip surface, delete, exit extrude, and now I have this sort of curved wall. But it has a little thickness do, right? That is a strategy to create scenic units. Once I've done that, I would Command 5 to get back into top plan view. I would take a look at this, and then I would probably turn it into what's called a symbol. Modify, create symbol, and this will be wall A, right? That way I can leave it here in this drafting space, but I can also utilize it over in my scenery, in my set design. So I would leave it here in the drafting space. I would go pick up that symbol, wall A, and then I can bring it into the set, you know, and have it be there kind of in the way that it is. And if I want to make adjustments to it, I come over and I do that in the drafting view. The other thing I would need to do now that it's over here on the set is change it from the drafting layer back to the scenic layer. So now it will appear with scenery instead of with just the drafting stuff. Okay. Hopefully that's enough for you to get started, but let me know as you sort of arrive at different pieces of this equation and I can help you find where you're going. All right. Thanks, friends. Talk to you soon. Bye.